Today we're going to start Module 12, Lesson 2, which is a 2-day long laying the foundation project, which you will be working with your teammates on. There's probably going to be about 3 or 4 of you in a group as you work on this to help divide and conquer the work. Now, with all the laying the foundation, this is one of those that you have to truly productively struggle your way through. I can't give you a lot of guidance. You're supposed to take and read the instructions, follow the instructions, and have a final aha moment as you go through it and gain a deeper understanding of how the math works. But I am going to take a minute to go over exactly what they're telling you to do here because it's kind of confusing. It says use square pieces of paper as described to form open top boxes by carefully cutting congruent squares from each corner. Use measurements given for the heights of the boxes as the lengths of the heights of the boxes as the lengths of the sides and the squares to be cut from the corners. This sounds pretty dang confusing already. Make one cut at each corner to form a tab that will make assembling of the box easier. So what are they actually asking us to do here? So I'm going to do the very first one for you, and you're going to, as a group, will be dividing up the others, everybody making a box so that you can get the measurements off of it. So I'm going to pull up, find the right screen. There we go. So you're going to get some pieces of paper. There's going to be, I believe, 5 pieces of paper that look like this but in focus, and then 5 that are, or 6 pieces that are going to be 5-inch squares, and the same that are going to be 4-inch squares. And each one of those you're going to have an assignment to go through. You notice that at the bottom here there is a ruler already built in, so you won't need an actual ruler in order to be able to measure it. And the very first instruction said that our box, jump back over here, has a height of 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I've already cut out a square here, and I'm going to use that ruler to measure out some 1/2 inch marks. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch right here. I'm going to do 1/2 inch right here. Whoop, a little far off right there. I'm going to do 1/2 inch right here. I'm going to do 1/2 of an inch right here. I'm going to take and do 1/2 of an inch here and here, and then same thing on these sides, here and here. From here I'm going to take and use a straight edge, and for the straight edge you could use a ruler, you could use a piece of paper, anything that will become straight, and I'm going to take and draw lines going between those two tick marks. So I'm going to have a line going across here. I'm going to have a line going across here. I'm going to have a line going across here. And I'm going to have a line going across here. So those are my 4 1/2 inch folds. Now I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut some tabs so I can tape it all together. I can cut 1/2 inch in, see right here, and I'm going to cut 1/2 inch in right here. I'm going to do the same thing here. I know it's out of focus for you right now, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Finally, or next, I should say, we're going to fold on those lines that we drew. I find it easier if you have the lines on the bottom, so you can actually line them up a little easier. So there's one line, and then I'm going to fold this one along that line. It actually folds quite nicely because a pin, when I drew the line, made a nice indent, so it kind of damaged the paper, so it folds quite nicely along there. And then I'm going to fold along this line. And then the last thing we're going to do is grab some tape and tape up our boxes. So with that, I'm going to have a piece of tape going here. I'm going to have a piece of tape going here. I'm going to have another piece of tape going here. And I'm going to have a final piece of tape going here. So now I have made my open top box. That's the first box. Now we have it made, let's look at what questions they have. They need the length of the box, and they need the width of the box, and they need the volume of the box. So I'm going back to my ruler that they gave me. Change screens, and I'm going to measure, and the width of my box is going to be about 5 inches, which is kind of hard for you all to see, but it's going to be about 5 inches. It is a perfect square, so it's going to be 5 inches that way as well. So I'm jumping back over here. I'm going to write in my values. The length, let me change where my mouse is, or pen's actually working. I'm going to have 5 here and 5 here, and when I multiply that out, and you will need to have a page for supporting work where you're going to be giving me the formula area equals length times width times height, and then you do the plug in your numbers and do the work. But when you do all that, you're going to find that that box has a volume of 12.5 inches cubed. Now, you and your teammates are going to be doing that for all of these sizes right here, and then you're going to do it again on the 5 by 5 square, and then you're going to turn the page, and you're going to do it again on the 4 by 4 square. So there's a fair bit of cutting and taping that y'all are going to be doing and measuring. After all that is done, then you're going to start answering some questions beyond just doing the calculations. You've got some questions here, and those questions go all the way down to that. And then when you turn the page, guess what? You've got more questions you have to work on. Now, like I said, this is a 2-day project. This is a productive struggle project where you and your teammates are going to be working together, thinking about what it's asking, and doing the best you can to answer these questions. That's all I've got. I look forward to seeing you all working on this in class, and if you're at home, you're just going to have to try and do some printouts on your own and make it work. I look forward to seeing how things work out for you.